Hello, today I am going to go through a card play practice. This is a reflective activity that invites you to explore what you might be ready to release or let go of, and what new energy or insight or support you are ready to possibly welcome in its place. So this practice uses imagery cards to help you tap into your intuition, your imagination, and really your embodied insight to uncover what's ready to shift. So I'm going to be pulling cards for this. If you have a deck, feel free to use that. In other videos, I'm going to go more into the process of card play. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to just really straightforwardly choose cards, choosing the improv method. And for any card that I choose, if you're following along, we just agree that card is the right card for you in this moment, and that it supports your highest good. It serves your highest good. I'm going to use a few different decks for this, just to kind of give an example of how you can weave different types of cards and different types of props into card play. Okay. So the intention of this practice is really to kind of create space, kind of like energetic space, for letting go, for receiving support, and for allowing insight to arise from within. The idea is to trust intuitive responses and stay curious about what resonates, surprises, or gently stirs something new. So the first step here is the question of what wants to be released. And the question to kind of be thinking about, and that the card, the imagery, is going to answer, is what do I need to let go of in order to allow something more relevant or more aligned to emerge right now. And so the idea here is to choose one or more cards using your preferred method, and then allow the imagery or the message of that card to speak to you, noticing what arises in your experience, and then you can journal or reflect freely on that. So I'm going to just pull a card using what I call the improv technique, just to demonstrate here, using just a Dixit deck. And the card that I'm randomly pulling is this one. That's what it looks like here. For what wants to be released, what do I need to let go of in order to allow something more relevant or aligned to emerge right now. That's the card for that one. And then the next question is, what can support me? So we kind of just explored what wants to be released. There are lots of different ways to explore the imagery in a card. I'll do future videos on that. And for this one, you can you can again pull cards using your preferred method. You can, if you're using like a tools-based deck that actually has practices, you can pull cards from there. And if you are doing that, be sure to clearly state the concept or the practice that's represented on that card. I'm going to actually use a deck to demonstrate that and reflect on how it would apply to your current situation. So I'm going to choose 3 different types of cards for this, and if you want to, you can choose one of them. Treat them as like you come into this magical space. There are 3 gifts laid out before you, and you get to choose the one that is most relevant or most helpful for you. So I'm going to choose one from the same imagery deck that I just used. I'm going to choose one from my Whole Health card deck, which are actual practices, so this would be considered like a tool-based deck. And then I'm going to choose a paint chip from my collection of paint chips. And this is going to function more on a metaphorical and deeply symbolic level. So that can be a little bit more, that's a more advanced way to think about applying practices or applying concepts. And I'm going to do other videos kind of going more in depth on the actual processes and concepts in card play. So for this next step, what can support me? So the gift number 1 is this image. And this was the first card of what needs to be let go of. This is the gift card. That's gift number 1. Gift number 2 is going to come from my whole health card deck. And that is an actual practice. This is the back of the card. This way. And the actual practice is act opposite. So the card actually goes through an explanation of the practice, but just generally acting opposite to your automatic impulses can shift your experience. Make a list of habitual automatic responses that aren't working for you and identify ways to act opposite. Feelings aren't facts. So that's a practice. And then finally, from my paint chips, lambskin. So, pulling from the color, what this color might convey to you or evoke in you, or even just that word lambskin, symbolically and metaphorically. So, choosing one of these gifts, you could even choose the imagery on the back of the practice, act opposite, or this one, pulling what you can from it to support you in your process, and then journaling about it if you want to. And then optional deepening, if you want to further explore, you can choose additional cards or just simply reflect on these questions. One is, what might be holding me back from taking action? And you can choose another card to work with in answering that question. What could help me follow through on what matters most to me right now? And that's kind of another one of the 3. You could explore that through the 3 gifts again. What could help me? Is it something in an image card? Is it an actual practice from like a tools-based deck? Or is there some kind of metaphorical or symbolic way of thinking about this, or some metaphorical object or tool that I can, or energy that I can, that can be supportive for that. So again, you could choose one or more cards using your preferred method, allowing the imagery or the message to speak to you, noticing what arises in your own experience. There's that intuition part, and then journal or reflect freely.